Alright, this cave that I decided to make my base in is absolutely massive, and I still haven't even gotten to explore the whole thing, so I'm going to be doing that today, doing some mining, while we read some Reddit stories. Thanks again for coming back to the channel. Let's go ahead and judge some people. Alright, here's the first story. Am I overreacting to my girlfriend going to her ex's birthday party without telling me? I'm a 29-year-old male, and I've been dating my girlfriend Lena, 27, female, for about 10 months. Things have been great overall. She's funny, smart, independent, and we've talked about maybe moving in together next year. No major issues until this weekend. So here's what happened. On Saturday, Lena told me that she was going out with a few friends from college. Cool, no problem. I had plans to watch the game with my brother anyway. But the next day, I saw a photo on one of her friends' Instagram stories with the caption that said, "Happy birthday, Jason." I recognized Jason. He's her ex. The one she dated for about 3 years and broke up with about a year before we met. They were pretty serious from what I'd gathered. I've never made a big deal about it because she always told me that they were on decent terms, but not really close. So naturally, I asked her later that night, "Hey, were you at Jason's birthday thing?" She looked a little surprised and said yeah, but quickly followed up with, "It wasn't a big deal, it was a group thing, and I didn't think it mattered." I didn't raise my voice or accuse her of anything. I just said I wished she'd mentioned it beforehand. She got kind of defensive and said I was making something out of nothing, and that it's not like she was hiding it. But she kind of did hide it. I mean, I don't want to be controlling, and I know people stay friends with their exes, but the fact that she didn't even mention she was going to his birthday rubs me the wrong way. It just feels off. I'm not accusing her of cheating or anything, but I can't shake the feeling that she intentionally kept it vague so I wouldn't ask questions. She said she didn't think I'd care, but the whole thing just makes me feel kind of sidelined. So am I overreacting? I don't really think this guy's overreacting here. It's definitely sneaky behavior on Lena's part. She didn't do anything necessarily egregious or relationship ending, but it's nice to, if you're gonna go to your ex-boyfriend's birthday party, I think you should probably let your partner know that. That's something that I would maybe want to know. I'm definitely not someone that believes that you need to know where your partner is at all times in a relationship. You should absolutely have trust in your partner in that way. But this is one of those things that you might want to let your partner know. Otherwise, it's going to seem like you're omitting the truth or hiding things. There are some updates to this story, so let's go ahead and read those really quick and then come back with some closure. Let's take this guy with us too. Come here, get in the bucket, come on. Okay. All right, here's the update from the same day, but just 8 hours later. Thanks again to everyone who responded. A few comments really stuck with me, especially the ones that pointed out it's not necessarily about where she went, but it's about how she handled it. I ended up bringing it up when she came over this evening. Nothing dramatic. I just said I'd been thinking about it, and that it bothered me, not even the party itself, but the fact that she didn't mention it. She didn't seem surprised that I brought it up. There was a bit of an eye roll at first, but she didn't push back much. Mostly quiet. The energy in the room shifted right away. She said something vague about not wanting it to be a thing. Not much of an apology, more like trying to smooth it over and move on quickly. And maybe that's what I'm doing too, in my own way. Afterward, we just kind of moved around each other for the rest of the evening. She left very quickly after that, and right now I'm reading the comments on my original post. I'm not sure where I land on all this. Nothing exploded, but it also didn't feel resolved. She didn't seem interested in understanding why it bothered me, just in making sure that it didn't mess with the vibe. It's not a breakup level thing. Not yet. But it does feel like something has shifted in our relationship. That's all for now. Just figured I'd follow up. Thanks again. There's a bunch of comments underneath that update that are like, break up, break up, break up. She's manipulating you, break up. and I don't necessarily disagree. I think, maybe it's not like a breakup thing for me. I agree with him, or with this poster, that it's not a breakup level thing. I think she's definitely not appreciating his perspective very much, or giving him much empathy at all. But let's go ahead and read the last update here, which is 10 days later. Okay, here's the last update. Figured I'd give one last update, even though things really didn't go the way I'd hoped. It's been about 10 days since I posted. Things between me and Lena have really never got back to normal after that night. We had a few awkward conversations in the days after, nothing explosive, but I could tell there was tension. She kept saying I was overthinking it, that it wasn't that deep, but the way she avoided the topic or brushed it off made me feel worse. The whole situation stuck with me more than I'd expected. It wasn't even about the party itself anymore. It was how she'd handled it. It became pretty clear that we look at communication in relationships really differently. I felt like I couldn't fully trust her to be upfront, and once that feeling crept in, it was hard to shake. We ended up having a more serious talk this past weekend. She admitted she didn't tell me about the party because she knew how I'd react, which kind of confirmed the whole point for me. I don't really want to be with someone who feels like they need to hide things to keep the peace. We didn't fight. It was more of a mutual, quiet decision to end things. Just felt like we were on different pages, and forcing it wasn't going to help either of us. It sucks, obviously, and I didn't want it to go this way, but in hindsight, I'm glad I trusted my gut. That uneasy feeling never really went away, and I think I'd rather deal with the short-term hurt now than drag this out. It's unfortunate that they broke up, but you do have to be on the same page about communication in a relationship. And I mean, I think like Lena's right to a certain extent. It really shouldn't be that big a deal, what she did, but it's the fact that she wasn't upfront about it. It's the fact that she was trying to hide where she was going in the first place that I think would bother me, too. But this poster absolutely did the right thing by breaking up with her. She didn't have the respect for him to tell him that she was going to go hang out with her ex-boyfriend. It's lying by omission, but it's still lying. He should be with someone that he feels like he can trust. And when you feel like you can't trust someone, that's not great. Okay, I'm clearly out of things to say about this, so let's move on to the next story here. Okay, here's the next story. Am I the asshole for telling my neighbor to grow up, get a life, and get the fuck over the fact that I painted my house a color he doesn't like? Okay, here's the story. I bought a house in a community without an HOA. I wanted my home to be my home, and that includes making it look the way that I want. I also chose a neighborhood that already has fun, colorful houses instead of just plain earth tones. I finally got to the point where I could repaint my house. I picked a soft, peachy color with sage blue and soft, dark pink accents. My neighbor Paul fucking hates it and has been complaining since we started the project. He also made his opinion known that he hates our front lawn, lots of wildflowers and sunflowers, fun garden flags, a little free library, etc. Each and every time, I've told him that I don't care. Truly, I don't. I've suggested a few times that maybe he'd be happier in an HOA community that has control over everything and forces people into having earth-toned homes. Paul got angry when I suggested that and said that he's lived in his home for over 15 years and shouldn't have to move. I told him, okay, well, you have to learn how to live with a little color. Last weekend, I was putting in pavers that my niece and I had painted together. They're all things like ladybugs, turtles, birds, etc. in fun colors. I adore them, and my niece is so excited she gets to be a part of my home. Paul came over to complain yet again, saying it was all an eyesore, and my niece was there, so I just told him, it's time for you to grow up and get over what I'm doing with my house. He got even pissier and told me that I have no right to talk to him this way. I told him to just go away and get a life. If he has so much free time to bitch and moan about a colorful house, maybe he should get a hobby. He stormed off, calling me a nasty piece of work. My niece was cracking up on the side. For the record, no one in my family is uptight. We really don't care about cursing. I know some people clutch their pearls over it around kids. She's 15, but I'm sure she says worse. Anyway, one of the other neighbors came to tell me that he's been flapping his yap about how disrespectful I am to talk to him like that. She told me she knows he's a pain, but he has been in the neighborhood forever, and it's worth being nice to him. I don't know. Is telling him to get a life that big a deal? Am I the asshole? I think we can all agree that this poster is definitely not the asshole. When you buy a property, especially not in a community with an HOA, you can do whatever you want with your home. And this neighbor has no authority to tell anybody what they should be doing with it. It sucks. You don't get to pick your neighbors, and sometimes your neighbors are just annoying or bad. Sometimes I think I am the bad neighbor in my neighborhood. The other night, we got the cops called on us because we were having an extremely loud karaoke night in our backyard, and we were singing very poorly, and the cops showed up and told us to stop. So that's understandable. And my neighbors would be right to be upset with us. But, you know, I'm correcting. I'm trying to do better. We're not going to do another karaoke night. Or it won't be outside if we do it. Okay. All right. Anyways, let's go to the next story here. This is the first iron vein that I've found in this world, which is kind of crazy. But considering I don't have an iron farm yet, I'm like pretty stoked to find this. All right, let's read another one here. I think my girlfriend has been trying to get me fired from all my jobs. I'm shaken. Please help me. Okay, this poster writes, I'm male, 24 years old, and I've been with my girlfriend, female, 29, let's call her Janice, for 2.5 years. I just finished my education when we started dating, and I've been doing all sorts of jobs since. Sometimes 2 at a time. I did this to expand my resume and gather job experience. I worked in cafes, bookstores, a library, a grocery store, and even as an English tutor. Most of these jobs lasted about 3 to 5 months. My shortest stay was 2.5 weeks. My longest was about 8 months. But since I didn't have a hard time applying for new positions, I tried to block it out, though it was kind of eating me up internally. People called to complain about me. People left bad reviews about me. People used my employee Wi-Fi access to look up sketchy things on the internet under my name. Former employees called to inform the business about me, right name and all, and much, much more subtle stuff that I couldn't disprove. But I was too anxious to do anything about it. I just told my girlfriend, she comforted me, she supported me every time I got my life ruined by these people, but I kept getting new jobs, and they kept finding me. Fast forward to this week, I currently hold a part-time position at a bakery. I've been working there for 2.5 months. It's going okay, but my manager approached me about something regarding our Google reviews. Someone was complaining about an employee, and their description of them could only really fit me. It was on a day where we were pretty short-staffed, so I could have been the only person in the store that day. Anyway, the review contained some pretty elaborate and nasty comments about me. This has happened on 1 or 2 of my jobs already. I told my manager that it was all pretty bogus and that someone had a vendetta against me, as has happened before. She believed me and told me she'll dismiss the comment. On my break, I checked out the review for myself. Their username was kinda stupid. I'm not gonna type it out here since I still work there. But I'll just call them Mick Myrtle, as it was in the same range of sounds where it sounds a little bit fake, but not really. Anyway, I went home and didn't tell Janice about it. She's heard it all before, and I didn't see the point in complaining about another time where I had almost lost my job. We chat, all's well, and she leaves the room. Her phone's on the table, and suddenly, she gets a notification or an email from Google. I don't remember what it said exactly, but the pop-up read something along the lines of, Mick Myrtle, manager, has responded to your review. My heart dropped. I've been trying to ignore it since. This was 2 days ago. But it just fits the picture of the bad reviews I've been getting. It fits the picture of the phoned-in complaints to my workplaces that I've received in the past. It fits the picture of all the sketchy things I've been fired for. Why would she do that, though? I'm looking for an explanation. This literally can't be. She's the only thing keeping me sane. I don't know what to do. This is already a kind of insane story, but these updates that I'm about to read get a little bit stalkery. If that kind of thing bothers you, then you've been warned here. Okay, here's the update. First of all, yes, we broke up. That's why I'll be referring to her as my ex from now on. Anyway, let's start from the beginning. On Monday of the following week, I couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. I told my ex that I needed her booking account to book a train ticket to visit my dad for a few days. She complied, and when she was in the shower getting ready for work, I booked my ticket and started looking through her emails. After some digging, I found an email to herself which contained a spreadsheet file. I sent the file to myself, printed it out, and took a screenshot. Why? The spreadsheet contained every single piece of information about me that there was. Numbers, emails, passwords, work times, colleagues, their numbers and social medias, as well as some emails and passwords that she used for accounts to ruin my life with. Everything was on there, conveniently sorted for her to ruin my life as efficiently as possible. When she left for work, I decided it would be best to immediately pack my stuff. Nothing that mattered would be left behind. I felt like a wanted man, like I was being hunted despite nothing being seemingly out of place. I called my boss, told her that I would take some time off work, and headed out to see my dad. Needless to say, the sanity was needed. I cried about everything I saw. I panicked for a whole 2 days straight about how my life was ruined and I didn't know what to do. I had to sleep on the couch in the guest room because I was so scared of my ex coming in. He handled it like a champ. He called the police, a lawyer, and most recently a therapist for me, because I was in the most horrible state of my entire life. We're currently sorting out the legal stuff. I haven't talked to my ex yet, except for letting her know that it's over and that she's a sick psychopath. My dad handled the rest. I changed all my passwords and now I'm looking for a place to live. Sorry for the brief update. My mind's a bit tangled. Okay, and then there's one final update from a couple years later, actually. The poster writes, "We ended up not taking her to court over it. This is quite controversial considering the abhorrent things she's done to me, but I do not regret this decision. The satisfaction of seeing her get punished would have been overshadowed by the sheer amount of dread, anxiety, and fear I would have faced from those court hearings. I was a nervous mess. I couldn't eat for weeks without throwing up. My dad had to settle the most important stuff because I physically couldn't. On the bright side, our lawyers settled the situation beautifully in private, and I haven't had any problems with her since. I've moved houses, got a stable job, and found closure and justice that I was looking for through therapy. We've had zero contact since then, and I still haven't read any of the messages that she sent me those years ago. Of course, I'm nowhere near done with my journey. I still have all of my social media accounts set to private and insist on keeping a low profile online. I still get anxiety, especially when there's problems at work, but I haven't had any panic attacks in months, and my therapist has been great. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know if she's moved on, or if she's seen this story float around the web. I don't know how much she knows about how my life is currently going, but nothing's happened since then that I could attribute to her scheming. It's always tempting not to believe stories like this just because they sound like it just sounds so outrageous. But stuff like this does happen. I mean, last video we had a story of a boyfriend stalking his girlfriend, and now we have a girlfriend trying to destroy her boyfriend's life. I mean, it is crazy. I said it last time. I'll say it again. Like it's really terrifying to be dating someone and then find out they're just not the person that you thought they were. This is like just genuinely psychotic behavior. Like having a spreadsheet of all of your boyfriend's jobs and like how you're going to destroy him and get him removed from those jobs is just wild. But I think the important takeaway from this story is that there's always just like somebody in your life that you can go talk to and have help you if you're in a situation like this. Like you can always talk to somebody. But I think I would be like genuinely fearful for the rest of my life that this person was going to come out of the woodwork and try and get me removed from a job or try and ruin my life in some way. All right, we got a lot of stories to get through today, so moving right along. Today I fucked up by forgetting I was wearing wireless earbuds during a Teams meeting. This poster writes, "So I, 28 male, work from home. I use wireless earbuds to take calls because I hate sitting still. I like to pace around while I'm talking, clean the kitchen, or chase my cat out of the forbidden zones. Yesterday we had a big Teams call, cameras off, one of those quarterly strategy syncs that basically translates to a 40-minute word salad from upper management and 10 minutes of questions no one wants to ask. I had my earbuds in. I thought I was muted. Mid-call, I start cleaning, talking to my cat, saying, 'What are you doing, gremlin? No, you can't eat plastic, you tiny moron.' Then I fart, loud, like cartoon sound effect loud. I chuckle and go, 'Jesus, that was bold of me.' That's when I hear my manager, mid-sentence, pause. Then another colleague goes, 'Is someone not muted?' I look down at my screen. Nope. I was the audio host. Everyone heard everything. I died. Instant respawn. Left the call. Took a fake bathroom break. Later, my boss messaged me, 'Great energy today. Kill me.'" If you're not in the working world yet, maybe this like won't be as relatable to you. but to me, I mean, like when you've been on these Zoom calls, like for me, it is just constantly checking to make sure I'm unmuted because I'm always doing other things, like other than just like straight up paying attention to these meetings. Yeah, I just completely empathize with this poster here. And luckily have not had any sort of instance. I've been unmuted, but it's never been like this bad. So I feel for this poster. Let's read another story here. I actually can't believe there's still more to explore on this side of the cave, but I'm kind of bored over here, so I'm going to go to the complete other side of the cave and go explore over there, see if there's more diamonds. And for those of you that whinge about the amount of torches I use, just know that I will not rest until every block of this cave is well lit. All right, we got another relationshipy one. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend made plans on my birthday. My boyfriend, 22 male, and I, 21 female, have been together for almost 3 years. We are planning on moving in together in the near future, as he lives with his mom right now and doesn't go to school after dropping out. For context, he works on Tuesdays and Fridays, so I know he was free to go out on Sunday, which happened to be my birthday. He knows how important special occasions are to me, such as birthdays and anniversaries. For the first year in our relationship, he was great. He was loving and kind. Last year we ended up celebrating my birthday late due to the fact that he was tired from work. and didn't want to go out, which I let slide. I always try to do the most for his birthdays. I buy him gifts, write him cards, bake a cake for him from scratch. Yesterday afternoon, I texted him, reminding him about the plan later, and this conversation happened. There are some screenshots of a text conversation here that I'll throw up on the screen right now. For the audio-only listeners, the gist of this conversation is that the boyfriend is just refusing to go out on her birthday tonight because he's already made some plans. And he's just kind of being a dick. That's just the gist. Okay, back to the story. He made plans to go out and party instead of seeing me. He forgot about it even after I had been talking about it all of last week. I spent my 21st birthday alone in my room while he was out, and we haven't texted since. This birthday was particularly special to me because I turned 21. I even bought a new pink dress to wear for him, assuming we were going to dinner. He is suggesting that we go out and celebrate tomorrow instead, like last year, but to me it doesn't feel the same. He's insisting that I apologize for being ungrateful. Am I overreacting? I used to be the kind of guy that didn't really care about my own birthday and kind of used that as an excuse to not really care about anyone else's birthday. And like, I've since come around on this. I think it's incredibly important to like celebrate the people that you care about. You know, birthdays come once a year. It's nice to show your appreciation for the people in your life and do something nice for them, surprise them, give them a gift, or just like tell them that you care about them. All that is to say that I think that this guy is just being a dick. His girlfriend clearly puts in a lot of effort for his birthday and is just asking for some of that to be reciprocated on her own birthday. Making plans on your girlfriend's birthday with other people other than your girlfriend is kind of crazy. That's kind of wild behavior. You know her birthday's coming. You gotta block out that time, my man. So she is definitely not overreacting. I think we can all agree about that. But there's an update from a couple days later, so I'll go ahead and read that. There's also like a lot of text messages. There's a long text conversation in this one, so I'll put those on the screen while I'm reading this update here. Okay, here's the update. A little update for those who were wondering. We broke up. He was texting me throughout the day yesterday, but I just did not have the energy to entertain him and text back. I didn't answer him until almost midnight last night, which is when this happened. I thought long and hard about how our conversation would go and how I would go about breaking up with him. Clearly, he didn't care very much given the screenshots I've shared above. This is the most difficult thing I've done. He was the person I wanted to marry. Thank you, Reddit, for the help and support. I didn't expect anyone to see that. Much love. I apologize for not reading the texts here. It's just kind of hard to read that many text messages and make it sound that coherent in this format. But you can go back and pause the video if you want to read what they said. It's basically just a breakup over text, and the guy just sounds really desperate and sad. I think the initial offense of like making plans on your significant other's birthday, while it's really bad, it's not necessarily like something that you should break up a 3-year relationship over. However, I think this poster absolutely made the right call to break up with her boyfriend when he reacted the way that he did to her. Like, this text conversation's crazy. He's insanely disrespectful. She absolutely made the right decision to break up with him. He's just an immature guy. This guy just sucks, and I'm glad that this poster got out of this relationship. All right, let's move on to the next story here. We've had a lot of relationshipy ones. Let's take a break from that. Read some court drama here. And then go back to the relationshipy stuff. Okay, here's the title. Sat down on my friend's MacBook and broke it. Offered to pay her the money for it, but now she wants more because she was upgrading it anyway. So it's this, or she will sue me in small claims court. Kind of long title. All right, let's read it here. This poster writes, I had some of my friends over at my house, and one of my friends invited one of her other friends to come over. She had her MacBook on my couch when I sat on it and broke it. Since it was completely my fault, I offered to pay her the money for it, and she agreed. She got it 3 years ago, and it cost $2,200 at the time. I told her I'd wire her the money in a week to her bank account. She's now emailed me saying that as per our conversation, she's expecting $2,700 that we agreed on. I didn't know why she added extra money, so I got her number from a friend and gave her a call. Turns out she's now expecting me to pay for an upgraded MacBook since she was going to upgrade it anyway. She said if I don't agree to do it, she'll be suing me in small claims court. Can a judge agree to that? Should I wire her $2,200 or should I just go ahead and let her sue me? This poster was really generous to offer to fix it in the first place. I mean, it's just the right thing to do. You shouldn't be like finessing a new laptop out of somebody breaking your laptop. Like if you were going to upgrade it, you were going to have to spend a whole nother $2,700 of your own money to upgrade it. Instead, you are getting $2,200 of it financed. Like, just take that money and then go spend another $500 on the new laptop. This friend of a friend just comes off as really greedy in this story. Just take the $2,200 and be happy that you were even offered it in the first place. It's unfortunate that she got her laptop broken, but I mean, that's, this is just the right way that it should be done. But we have an update, so let's go ahead and read how this went down. The poster writes, I went through every single comment from the 200 plus ones, and I sincerely thank each one of you. The comments were basically talking about, it was like legal advice, what should be done. I wasn't going to read all that. Okay, the poster writes, I did some research specifically for repairing the screen for the MacBook and her particular model. It's around $310 for the screen, plus the labor cost. So I wrote her back saying that since she didn't accept my initial offer of $2,200, I'm withdrawing that offer and I'm offering to pay just the repair cost. She sent me an email calling me a bitch. She sent me an email calling me a bitch that she's going to take me to court. I got served several days later and went to court. I told the judge that I gave her 3 options to choose from. 1, either write her a check for a brand new one, which is $2,200. 2, get her a refurbished one from Apple or a third party, which would be about $1,400. Or 3, fix her current MacBook, since the screen is the only thing affected here, so that would only cost about $300 plus the money for labor. I had printed out our entire correspondence and had receipts for everything, which I gave to the judge. I also told him that when I offered at the very beginning to get her a new one from the Apple Store, she said that she wants the money in cash. When I told her I'd give her $2,200 for a new one, she said okay, but later then came asking for $2,700 because she wanted the upgrade. I tried to show him how it's clearly visible she's trying to take advantage of me. She gave the judge an attitude almost the whole time, which really pissed off the judge and helped my case, I guess. After listening to both of us, he ruled that I pay 50% of the repair cost, since she negligently left a laptop on the couch. So I'll be paying no more than $200 to $250 for the whole thing. If it weren't for Reddit, I would have paid $2,200 instead of the around $200 that I'm currently spending. And I loved the look on her face as we walked out of the courtroom. I'll read this comment here that I think sums up this story pretty well. OP is a treasure. They took full responsibility for something that wasn't entirely their fault and was willing to make it right within minutes or seconds. Then recognized their goodwill was being taken advantage of and stood their ground. Excellent outcome. Hopefully that friend is no longer around. Quite shitty behavior. Like, that person has to be really, really petty to be willing to go to small claims court over something that they could have just settled in person. Like, why be an asshole over $500? Just take the money that's being offered to you. This is, the more I'm thinking about this is just making me mad. I hope this poster never has to see that person again. Let's move on to another story here. My boyfriend quit gaming. Now I live with a bored and frustrated guy. This poster writes, my boyfriend, 28, male, recently decided to quit gaming after years of being hooked on it. He's been a gamer since he was a teenager, and the decision to quit came after he realized how much time and money he was spending on it. The problem now is that he's always bored and easily frustrated. He sits around the house all day, sighing or getting annoyed at the smallest things. If I suggest that we do something together, he either acts uninterested or says it's too much effort. I'm not sure how to deal with this, and it's starting to affect our relationship. Has anyone ever been through something similar? How can I support him through this? Or is this just a phase he has to get over? I definitely went through a period where I was playing way too many video games. It was definitely like the period of I think high school and college, I was definitely spending way too much time gaming. Gaming just provides a framework for my guy brain to easily understand. Like, it's really hard to succeed in real life You have to like set goals for yourself and accomplish them. And gaming just provides the goals for you, and you just have to accomplish them and you're rewarded. In that way, gaming can get really unhealthy if you're spending too much time doing it. So I understand where this guy's coming from, but as long as you're spending your time, if you're splitting up your time well between gaming and other hobbies, then you should be fine. If I'm giving advice to this guy that this poster is talking about, I think he just needs to find something else to do in his time that he enjoys, whether it's like a sport or some sort of artistic hobby. You can find other things to do with your time that are constructive. I played a lot of sports in high school, and when I went to college and spent all of my time gaming, I stopped playing sports so much, and I look back on that and I really regret it. So when I got out of college, I made sure to split my time between gaming and going outside and playing a new sport. Anyways, this guy's going to be all right. He's just going through some gaming withdrawals. He just needs to find something that he likes to do and focus on that. Let's read another story. All right. My best guy friend just told me he's in love with me 2 days before my wedding. Oh boy. All right, here we go. I've been with my fiance for 3 years, engaged a little over a year. My best friend and I have known each other since freshman year of college. We're all in our early 30s. This morning, I woke up to a long-ass text from my guy best friend that he sent around 6 a.m. Basically, it was him pouring his heart out. He said he's been in love with me for years, but always hoped I'd end up breaking up with my fiance and finally noticing him. He asked me to call off the wedding and run away with him. It said, I needed to tell you before it was too late. I just feel gross and sad. I have no feelings for him beyond platonic love. I've drafted a response and deleted it over and over again. I haven't even told my fiance. I don't want him to have to worry about me so soon to our wedding. I know I need to, but I don't know what to do or how to phrase it. What's worse is that he's become my fiance's friend too. I'm also pretty pissed that my friend chose such an unfortunate time to cause me such distress. There were so many times over the years that he could have just bucked up and told me how he felt. But waiting until right before I'm married? Like I would just cancel my wedding and leave my fiance because of a goddamn text? I want to tell him not to come to my wedding. I can't trust that he wouldn't try to pull something. I don't even know if I want to talk to him again. But the thought of losing my best friend is heartbreaking. The thought of not having him at my wedding is really painful. He's put me in an uncomfortable and impossible situation. I wish it wasn't on me to deal with his feelings for him. I wish he had either stopped being friends with me when he realized us ending up together would never happen, or he had told me a while ago. I don't want to kick him while he's down, but I need to make it clear that I have no feelings, and that the wedding is still on, and that I don't want him to attend. We have been friends for over a decade. I've been crying over this all day. I feel disgusted knowing that this whole time he had ulterior motives. How do I even go about dealing with this? I'm supposed to get married in under 48 hours. I'll be showing the text to my fiance when he gets home from my brother's. I won't send anything back to him until he's with me. I think this guy watched one too many romantic comedies. I get, you can have a crush on your female friends. I feel like we hear this story so many times where it's just like a guy confessing his love to his female best friend or something like that. But, I mean, you can't do it 2 nights before their wedding. Like, come on. If you're going to say it, you got to say it years ago and move on when she says that it's not happening. But we got lots of updates today, so we got an update for this one too. So let's go ahead and read that right now. My husband and I just got back from our honeymoon yesterday. Here's the update on the situation. So that night, my fiance got home from my brother's. I let him sit down and then showed him the text. He read it and I watched his eyes get bigger and his expression get angrier. Of course, I started apologizing like an idiot, and he told me I didn't owe him an apology for anything. We talked, and he told me he figured that guy had a crush, but kept it respectful. And really, he had. We were close. But beyond a side hug during greetings and goodbyes, there was no physicality. I even let him read out past messages just to see that there was no emotional affair or me leading him on. I never even vented about my fiance when we would have arguments, because I knew better than to do that. So my fiance asked me what I wanted to do, and I said that while it saddened me, I didn't want him at our wedding. I was afraid that he would try some nonsense. We typed up a very brief message. It said, "I'm so sorry that you mistook my friendship for something more. The wedding is going to happen, and it'd be best if you didn't attend." To be clear, I let my fiance read this message, and he stands by my decision to uninvite you. We wanted to make it clear that it was me who wanted him to not come, not just my fiance. Knowing him, he'd probably claim that my fiance forced me to uninvite him. He read that message and left it on read for a while. I honestly started getting pretty anxious over it, and my fiance asked if I wanted to block him. Part of me wanted to, and part of me wanted to hear him out. And when he finally responded, the text was so long that I had to click on it to read it. It was horrible. He called me a liar for leading him on for over a decade. That he hoped that my fiance left me and that we were infertile. It was just horrible thing after horrible thing. And I started crying. My fiance took the phone into the other room while I sobbed. I think he called him, but I'm not sure. What I do know is, after an hour, he came back in, handed me my phone, and told me that my friend is now blocked on everything, and would not be attending our wedding. The best man and the maid of honor knew about the situation and would handle it for me. It was like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, honestly. After reading that message, I really wasn't so sad that my friend wouldn't be attending anymore. And our wedding rocked. We had the time of our lives surrounded by the people who loved us, and we loved them. It still feels like a dream, and if my friend tried to show up, I never heard anything about it. I think the poster and her fiance handled this situation perfectly. Like, this is just what had to happen. And it's unfortunate, but it sounds like they had a great time. They're happily married. Everything's great. Part of me does feel a little bit bad for the guy, but I mean, like, what was he expecting? You can't be confessing your love to to your best friend the day before her wedding. Like, come on, man. It's harsh to get uninvited, but like you shouldn't be there. If this is the way that you're acting the day before the wedding, like, who knows what you're going to do on the wedding. Okay, moving right along. Here's another one. Am I the asshole for loading kids up on sugar at my 6-year-old son's birthday party when the other parents just dropped them off? They write, this past weekend, we hosted a birthday party for my son. Male, age 6. Standard setup, park location, party games, balloons, snacks, cake. We had some cookies, lollipops, and drinks available. Water, juice, and yes, Coke. Coca-Cola, not cocaine. Pretty normal stuff for a kid's party, nothing extreme. Here's the thing. Most parents just dropped their kids off and left. Some didn't even say hi or check in. Just handed over their kid and took off. Again, I don't mind hosting. But if you're not going to stay, I'm going to assume that you trust what's on offer. Now, a couple of those parents are apparently complaining that we loaded their kids up with sugar and gave them Coke. One mom said their kid was bouncing off the walls and that we were irresponsible. But here's what gets me. Every kid who was offered Coke said that they were allowed to have it. Not one mentioned any restrictions, allergies, or preferences. Meanwhile, my own son doesn't like fizzy drinks or juice. He only drinks water or milk. So it's not like I was pushing anything on him or anyone else. The food and drinks were just there, help yourself style. If someone had mentioned their kid wasn't allowed a soft drink, I would have absolutely respected that. But I can't read minds. And if you don't stay at the party or say anything about dietary restrictions, can you really be upset afterward? So am I the asshole for not micromanaging what other kids ate and drank at a party where their own parents weren't even present? This party sounds like a nightmare. Like, I can't imagine hosting a party for a bunch of 6-year-olds that are hopped up on sugar. But I mean, this poster is absolutely not in the wrong. The other parents are responsible for letting the adults in the room know what their kids' dietary restrictions are, or if they're not allowed to have Coke or whatever. Of course, when asked, kids are going to say that they can have whatever they want. They're not going to, like, know their dietary restrictions and whatnot. They're going to want the sugar, so they're going to have it. If I'm 6 years old and I'm at a birthday party and there's Dr. Pepper there, I'm drinking at least 2 liters of it. And then I'm going to go home and be a nightmare for my parents. These next couple stories are subscriber submissions sent to the email inbox that you can find in the description of this video. If you want me to read a story or question that you have, you can send it to that email there. And if you want to comment on any of these stories that I'm going to read, I ask that you be respectful. These are real people that emailed in. That is maybe the most successful mining trip I have ever done. This is, like, not the most efficient way to mine, but I'm going to go through this with a Fortune 3 pickaxe, and it's going to be the best part of my day. All right, that's the haul. I think I'm covered for a while on resources. Let me go ahead and get back to reading here. All right, here's the first subscriber submission. Am I just lazy, or is something actually wrong with me? I'm a 16-year-old girl. I know I live in a generation where people often self-diagnose or jump to labeling things as a mental illness. I try to be aware of that. I have two younger sisters. One's 11, the other is 5. We've had plenty of rough patches, and while I might not share my food with them, I'd still take a bullet for them. That's real. Both of my parents were diagnosed with ADHD as kids. My dad was never medicated, but my mom was, though she's not anymore. I was a great kid for the first few years. Good grades, super kind, but I've never made it through a school year without a teacher calling home for how much I talk. My parents always brushed it off, saying I was just a kid or misbehaving. I tried to explain that I didn't even notice when I was talking too much. It just kind of happens. I just finished my freshman year of high school, and this past year was rough. It was incredibly hard and draining to focus and get anything done. And because I've always been a kid with good grades, I assumed I was just getting lazy. I barely brought it up to my parents because I knew if I told them, they'd say I was being dramatic or take away my stuff. Toward the end of the year, one of my teachers mentioned the possibility of getting an IEP. That's Individualized Education Program, I think. And another brought up a 504 plan. I don't know what that is. My parents read the email and immediately deleted it. They told me, "You don't need that. You just want the attention your sister gets." All caps. That's the last thing that I want. Because I love my parents and want to believe that they're right, I brushed it off. A few days later, I found that I failed one of my finals. I read the email and just started crying, terrified of what they would say. And while they were mad, they weren't as furious as I expected. I tried explaining everything. The hours I spent studying at the library, the all-nighters, and how despite that, I still couldn't focus. My brain jumps from one thing to the other, and I get mentally exhausted so fast. I've always blamed myself and called it laziness, but recently I've started realizing that it might be something else. When I hear how my friends describe their study habits, it sounds so much easier and calmer than what I experience. As I was trying to explain this to my parents, with a lump in my throat, they cut me off and said, "Don't start diagnosing yourself. Your sister has ADHD. We can't handle another one. You're just lazy. Figure it out." I snapped. I went full-on emotional rant, screaming, crying, finally letting out all the frustration I'd kept inside. I told them this could have been avoided if they had just listened to me, or to the teachers, when I brought it up months ago. Now I feel guilty. I still don't know if I'm just being dramatic and lazy, or if there's really something wrong with the way my brain works. I don't know what to do. Should I try to get diagnosed in secret? Should I push through and woman up? Or am I just the asshole? You're definitely not the asshole here. I mean, I'm also definitely not going to diagnose you here. It's important to remember that I am just a guy on the internet playing Minecraft and reading Reddit stories. What I will say, though, is that everyone learns differently, and it's important for your education to meet the needs of the way that you learn, to meet you where you're at with your learning. You sound really smart and thoughtful, and this is an incredibly written email. It's clear that you work really hard in school. You say that you're pulling all-nighters and you're studying. I think extra attention in school is always good, especially if your teachers are suggesting it. If they're suggesting an IEP, then I think it's wise for you and your parents to listen to that. They're the professionals. Teachers are, this is what they're paid to do. I'm sorry that your parents aren't giving you the empathy that you deserve. They just want what's best for you, and I'm sure they're stressed out. I'm not a parent. I don't know what it's like to have 3 kids, but that sounds really stressful. I'm sure if you have a measured conversation with them, you can help them understand the importance and the need for you to get the attention that you need in school. But I don't really know what I'm talking about here. My comments notoriously give better advice than I do on literally every subject. So I'm sure there are some people that maybe relate to this story in the comments. I'm sure they will have something far more insightful than me to say about this. And to answer your question more directly, no, you're not lazy and nothing's wrong with you. Especially if you're already worried about this stuff and articulating these problems so well. You just learn in your own unique way, like everyone else, and it's a matter of figuring out how to address that. All right, read some comments. Hopefully they help. Let's move on to another one. Also, I'm putting a wheat field here because I decided this area needs something. And I want to line it with those stacked stone walls that you see in, I don't know, Scotland or Ireland. I've only ever seen pictures of them, but they look really cool. And if you live in those countries, I'm jealous and I want your life. All right, here's the next subscriber submission. So I, 19 male, I had this relationship with a girl, 17, female, that ended a couple months back in January. I still have strong feelings for her, and even though I tried moving on, I simply can't. Our relationship lasted for about a year, and it was the best I have ever felt with anyone. When we were together, it was like all of our problems had gone away. We sort of had a little world together. The main issue was that her father was always a nuisance. He was the only one of her family that didn't know about us, and he was kind of controlling, not allowing her to go out, etc. Because of that, it was really hard for us to be together for more than half an hour each day, in between my job and her afternoon classes. And we had to wait for him to go out on work trips so that we could actually go out on a date. Anyway, we texted a lot and went on calls when we were able. And although it was really annoying sometimes, she was worth all of that headache. I met her mother, who was divorced and lived in another city. Me and her really hit it off. She seemed to genuinely like me, thinking I could be the right person for her daughter. I've had other relationships before, and with all these other girls, the issue was between us both. But with this one, the only issue was her father. We could talk for hours. She made me smile more, be more confident, and finally feel okay with who I was. We talked a lot about the future, making plans together, and even though we're young, I knew she was the woman I was going to marry. One day, though, she spoke with me saying that we should break up, and the worst of all was that I sort of understood her. She was feeling guilty, going around behind her father's back, and I felt even guiltier for being the reason she had to do it. She didn't want to disappoint her father, in case he found out about us, and I was always saying that she should talk to him, but she didn't think he would accept it. We stopped talking, and only spoke once again in February. I bought some flowers and left work early so I could reach her before she rode the bus to her home, thinking if we talked more we could work it out again. But she was still adamant on her decision. Since we broke up, I don't know what to do with my life. I'm young, and I think there's so much to live for still, but love has always been a big thing for me. The reason to exist. And I don't think I can bring myself to love anyone but her. I try to move on, but every time I fail, sabotaging myself on the pursuit for anyone else. And even though I know I shouldn't be looking for a love to replace this void, every night I keep going through all the memories and wishing there was something I could do to bring her back. When we talked for the last time, she seemed to be pushing me away because she knew how it hurt for us not being able to see each other while together. And I don't know how much of what she said was because she doesn't want us to get hurt, or if she actually doesn't feel anything anymore. I think of going to talk to her mother, as she always helped our relationship, but I also fear that's not a good idea. I can't bring myself to go talk to her in school for fear of being too creepy, but I also don't think sending a text message is good enough. I believe I can't give up on her, but I don't know if this is actually true. I really appreciate how much of a romantic you are. And reading this story, I'm just like rooting for you guys to get back together. But I think it's important to not cross a boundary when going about this. She broke up with you, and that really sucks. I'm so sorry that you guys broke up. But don't push her away by going too far with trying to get back together with her. I think your instinct is right. Don't show up to her high school. And you don't want to like go blowing up her phone about it. I would say for the next several months, just work on yourself. Work on getting your mental health together. Just focus on you for a while. Wait for her to graduate. And maybe when she graduates and you're both full adults here, she will feel less pressure from her family to keep a relationship secret. And maybe there will be interest then. But I would say give it a little bit of time before trying to jump right back into it. You never know when you could rekindle a relationship. But if in the future the answer is still no, then no's no. You got to move on. There's other fish in the sea, and I know that kind of sucks to hear, but that's just the way it is. I really am rooting for you two, though. It's clear that you're an incredibly thoughtful person, so I'm sure things are going to work out for you. Also, you mentioned that you're from Brazil and apologized for your English being weird. You wrote this perfectly. I'm amazed that anybody can speak more than one language. I appreciate you writing in the only language that I can understand. Okay, let's read another one. Here's the last subscriber submission. This story, it's nothing crazy or dramatic, but I'm hoping I can maybe get some thoughts on this situation. I, a 22-year-old female, have been with my boyfriend, a 21-year-old male, for about 3 years. I'll save the backstory, but we've been together for a really long time, and I'm getting sick of his behavior. Recently, I've been trying to reconnect with some friends. I've always had trouble with making them, let alone good ones I can kind of hold on to. It's been good, but I've noticed that ever since, my boyfriend has been subtly accusing me of doing something behind his back. He slips in remarks like, people only say that when they're trying to hide something, or I bet you've seen worse, and clearly refers to my friends. He doesn't seem bothered by these remarks, but I am. Aside from these little accusations, his behavior is really flip-floppy. Sometimes he's quiet and distant, and no matter what I do, he says he's fine, but it really gets to me. He always insists that he's just tired or stressed, but I feel like he takes it out on me by just being quiet. We recently moved in together, but it feels wrong to suddenly see such a drastic change in his behavior. Other times he can be really affectionate. He'll tell me he loves me and gives me all his attention, but as of lately it feels like an amendment. He knows how I feel about his changes in mood, and he always apologizes for it, but nothing ever changes. He always goes back to being quiet, and I always feel like somehow I did something wrong or that I'm annoying him. I can't help but worry. And now when he goes back to being affectionate and loving, I feel like I can't fully reciprocate anymore because I know it's only temporary. I really don't know what to do. I know I should just talk to him, but every time I try and bring it up, he either denies it or shuts it down again. And I feel like it's my fault, and I have to fix things by just shutting up or saying I didn't mean whatever I said. But in this case, I just don't know what else to do. I'd really appreciate any thoughts. I'm always nervous to give advice when I don't have like the full context of a situation. But what I will say is that it's always important to pay attention to someone's actions rather than what they're saying. If someone's apologizing for a behavior and saying they're sorry about it, but their behavior continues, then they're not actually sorry about it. But I think your instinct to have a conversation with him is absolutely correct. He may just be a person that needs space every once in a while to recharge. And now that you're living together, you see that more. But talk to him about it and see if that's the case. I definitely don't like his remarks about your friends. So maybe talk to him about that too. He might just be jealous that you are hanging out with other people aside from him and going out and making friends and having a good time. And that's the kind of possessive behavior that I hate and should be avoided. But I think just communicating with him is the solution here. And you should never feel like you have to shut up or deny your feelings about something. Those are always going to be valid. Also, I just want to add real quick that you should trust your gut on these types of things. It's usually right. All right, here's how the wheat field and the walls came out. I think it looks pretty good. It's close enough to what I wanted. But that's all the Reddit stories and Minecraft I have for you today. Thanks again so much for continuing to watch these videos. And if you're still here, if you could subscribe and comment those 3 wacky digits on the back of your parents' credit card, man, that'd be... for legal reasons, I'm telling you that I'm joking. Okay. All right. Bye.